So, anyways, Red Sox opened up the season finally. They
did.
blew it the first night. I mean, I would say Joe Kelly blew it the first night. Chris Sale did pretty well.
Yeah, it was a combination of Kelly and was it Carson Smith as well, and they just couldn't figure out their way through the eighth inning. So tough break for Chris Sale, kind of a little bit of the same of what he dealt with last year. He had I think it was a number of times last year where he pitched well and didn't get run support. He got a decent amount of run support in that game. I mean, they put 4 on the board while he was out there. You'd think that'd be good enough to win, but
he was also pitching shutout baseball for, 7 innings? 8
yeah,
innings?
7. You can't really blame Cora for taking him out because obviously it's the first game of the year. You're watching pitch counts. You're not trying to go crazy with guys, blow arms out on the first day. Interesting move to go to Joe Kelly. I mean, he wasn't even good in the spring. He had a couple outings in spring where he got hammered too.
I just don't understand why because Alex Cora said the reason why he wouldn't put Craig Kimbrell out was because he wants to still come out in a clean inning, with no outs, 0 outs, 0, nobody on base, which is a turnover from the John Farrell era of coaching where he's a player's coach, it seems like,
Yeah, well, he definitely wants to do things that are going to be good for the players, and in that instance, I don't really fault him for not bringing Kimbrell in the middle of an inning, because it is game 1 of 162. So people got to relax a little bit. You lose one game, the season's not over. And also, a guy like Kimbrell who hasn't done a lot of non-ninth inning work, you probably don't want to be thrusting him into his first action in the middle of an inning that's gotten away from you. So it's not the worst move in the world, but it's interesting when you kind of stand there if you're Alex Cora coming into the season and you say, well, I'm not going to be afraid to bring in Kimbrell in situations that aren't just the ninth inning, and then he goes and has an opportunity to do that and doesn't do it. You can look at it from both sides, but I was happy that they lost, so I was happy they didn't bring him in.
Well, obviously, your Yankees. The Yankees actually, for happily for you, they look like they're probably going to be the best team in the league, and at least in the AL this year.
Yeah, I mean, 2 games in, so it's tough to jump the gun, but their bullpen is good. They have something yesterday. I think the stat was their pitching in total has given up something like 8 hits or something and struck out 24 batters over 2 games.
24 batters is impressive for 2 games. 8 hits, whatever, it's 2 games.
Yeah. But the Yankees, I mean, and that's really the difference right now. If you look at the Yankees and the Red Sox, is that bullpen, right? When the Yankees can trot out different units both days, which is what they did. The first day, game 1, they went Chad Green, Dellin Betances, Aroldis Chapman. And then yesterday they went Tommy Kahnle, David Robertson, and Aroldis Chapman. So on any given day, you don't know who you're going to see, but you're going to see a power arm. The Red Sox don't have that.
Well, it's also a philosophy thing with the Red Sox, too. You never see – it's also early in the season, and you see it more in the middle of the season. But, Chapman is a guy who's going to go out there. He'll go out there, twice. If there's a doubleheader, he'll play in both those games. You don't see that with the Red Sox. They're such like – they're too much in my eyes. Their management is too much for the players where, the players are taking over. It's kind of like how LeBron runs any team he's on. It's whatever they want. And it gets to the point of insanity where why wouldn't you put one of your best pitchers out on opening day? Obviously it's a 162-game season, but you want to start the year off with a win. You're going to put out Joe Kelly, who couldn't pitch himself out of a Little League game?
Yeah, and again, I think it has more to do with the fact also that it's the Rays, so maybe you're not thinking the Rays are going to come back from a 4-run deficit. And it's not... To put it in a little bit more perspective, it's not like the Rays went and beat up the pitchers in that 8th inning. It was really more of Joe Kelly. I mean, he walked 3 guys. Carson Smith came in and walked a guy. So the Rays only had like 4 hits in that game. So it's not like they came out and had a massive 8th inning. But it is an interesting move. Why you even go to Kelly?
They're the Rays. They're like a minor league lineup.
Yeah.
I don't know. I literally don't know a single name in that team. Besides Longoria. If he's even on, he's not even on there.
Not even there.
No,
he's gone.
Exactly.
So you know nobody.
I don't know anybody.
You don't know Rob Refsnyder, former Yankee great? No. Picked him up 2 days ago. He's in the starting lineup. But, the Rays struggle. But again, that kind of is the bigger issue I have. If I was a Red Sox fan, my bigger issue is why is Joe Kelly even getting opportunities? I don't think it's so much that you didn't bring in Kimbrell or that you didn't go with Carson Smith to start. Why did Joe Kelly even get a chance?
Joe Kelly is the epitome of a relief pitcher, where he's offering relief, and that's simply what he is. He's not a clutch guy. He's not a we need 2 strikeouts right now in the 8th inning or 7th inning guy. He is, it's middle of July. Chris Sale's arm is about to fall off, or David Price's arm is about to fall off, or Rick Prozel's arm is about to fall off, and he needs to come in just to give him a rest before he go to an All-Star break or something.
He's a guy now. The way he pitched at the end of last year, and the way he pitched in the spring, and the way he started his season this year, he's a guy that, if I'm the manager, is coming in if the game is out of hand, if the game is no longer within grasp.
Either way,
I'd probably give him a chance if we were up by a lot, but if it's a 4-run or less game, he's not coming in the game. Because, I mean, look what happened. Against a team like the Rays, who are not a formidable offense, you put him in there against the Yankees, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, he has history of this last year also, but I think he's going to get more chances, but not in this situation. On opening day, it should have just been. What happened to putting out your best uniform? Your ace starts on opening day. Your best roster is out on opening day. It's not like everyone takes the day off. Why wouldn't you? Why is it different for the bullpen? Why all of a sudden were you going to play with the bullpen against a team anyway? You should be sweeping. You should get a sweep to start off the year.
Yeah.
This is what was wrong with this team last year. They could never get a sweep. They could never finish out a series, especially on the road. I mean, especially at home. They were way more of a road winning team last year. I think in some aspects. Either way, they went through different. They're never consistent.
Yeah. Again, the big concerning thing to me is, and to your point, the Red Sox, they're in a game right there, right, where it's a 4-run game, so it's not a safe situation, but it's still a close game, and it is a game where, or opening day is a game for any team where you want to put your best foot forward, right? You want to put your best guys, or you put the guys that are going to be in those roles, in the same roles that they'll be in through the course of the season. So is Alex Cora telling us that Joe Kelly is the 8th inning guy? Is he the 8th inning guy now? Because that's...
No, he's not. Absolutely not.
I mean, he was trotted out there. I know it's a 4-run game, so maybe he can say, well, it wasn't a safe situation anyway, so we didn't line it up the way that we thought we would have to. We weren't really worried about the Rays. But if he's going in line, which he kind of did because he went with Sale for, 6 innings. The 7th inning came around, and he pitched Matt Barnes, so that makes sense. Joe Kelly's your 8th inning guy? Why not Carson Smith? He's healthy.
I don't know. Let's ask this caller. We actually have a caller now for once, Jimmy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Breaking ground here.
You're the first caller on the sports show. What's going on? How are you? Are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, what's your name?
All right.
What?
Who are you, sir?
All right, great. That was a great first call. Okay. That went well.
You know what? We're somewhat off the ground here. We actually have people calling. Now we just have to have people use their voices when they call.
They could have probably just been calling for Howie Carr because he's also playing right now on the actual air. So this guy probably thought Howie Carr lives here or something and is doing a show right now from here. So
he called for Howie and
got stuck with
whatever.
Us. It's
hey,
something.
we've got to start. We got someone called in. We've actually heard one kind of word over the ear. Now we just need to put it together and get some sentences.
What's he doing?
He seemed very disinterested to be a caller, but hey.
I think so. If this guy's trying again, I don't know, but let's see. We're going to do one more try. Here we go. Are you alive, sir? Hello? Can you read us?
Yeah, I work at a KFC, and I was wondering if you guys have any $5 filler-ups.
That's hilarious. Idiot.
$5 filler-ups.
It was a really original prank caller, so there we go.
He works at a KFC and was asking us if we have filler-ups. Interesting tactic.
If I had a fill-up.
If you're gonna call in and prank us,
I don't know if that was a prank or not. I mean, he may have thought you worked at KFC because you have a red hat on that's kind of like a cooking hat.
That's it. It looks like a rooster, but it's actually it's a bar stool.
Yeah, I can see that, Jimmy. So, wow, what the hell was that all about? Jesus.
Hey,
that guy is...
It gets weird on YouTube.
I guess so. I don't know. Okay, thanks for calling in, I guess. But continuing on the Red Sox, what were you even talking about?
I was talking about the 8th inning. I thought you made a great point earlier when you said you want to put your best foot forward, right? And again, I don't want to make it all about the Yankees here, but let's take a look at the Yankees real quick. They came out, they went with Severino, obviously, their best starter, just like the Red Sox did with Sale. When Severino's day was done, they went to one of their best relievers from last year, Chad Green. When Chad Greenstein was done, they went to their next best reliever, Dellin Betances. And so on. They finished the game with Aroldis Chapman. So they went best starter to top 3 relievers, right? So the Red Sox, then they come Sale. Then they go to Matt Barnes, who was their 7th or 8th inning guy last year. Why is Joe Kelly the 8th inning guy? That's where my concern is if I'm a Red Sox fan.
I don't know why he was out
Is he
there
your
in the first
best?
game.
Is he your 8th inning guy?
It's too early to tell. It's been 2 games. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Is that it's been 2 games. So I think that I don't know why Cora put him out. That's the only thing that's telling. That's what leads to your argument is why did he put him out for opening day, which is kind of confusing. Maybe he thought that okay, it's the lowly Rays, so I'll put Joe Kelly out there because also it's some of this onus is on Joe Kelly for crapping himself against one of the worst lineups in MLB.
And I mean, maybe he's trying to light a fire. Maybe he's thinking like, here, let's go out, let's get him out there in action against a team that he should be able to do well against, get some confidence in him, because as the season progresses, he's going to have to be used in high leverage positions. I am looking at the roster right now, and excuse me, but I'm not the most well versed with the Red Sox bullpen, and I will concede a little bit that they don't have the arms to say that Joe Kelly maybe isn't your best option in the 8th inning, but if he is, that might be something that at the trade deadline you want to address because
who would take him in a trade if he can't pitch?
Well,
we don't know,
they're not going to
obviously.
trade him, but they need to trade for somebody who's better than him. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, but who trades for something less than what they have? If I have a Corvette and you have a Buick, why would I trade you the Corvette for the Buick?
If you're out of the race, there's going to be plenty of teams that'll be out of the race.
They'll
be out of the race.
Joe Kelly for no reason?
No, you won't trade Joe Kelly. You trade like a minor leaguer, or you trade somebody. You could trade a prospect for a guy who's an impact late inning pitcher.
Kelly, if this is a forecasting of what his season's going to be like, he's going to probably be spending some time in Pawtucket, and then be spending some time in Portsmouth, and then be spending some time in a grocery store. That
sounds about right. He's on that trajectory. His ERA is a 108. Very impressive.
I had a similar outing in junior varsity baseball for Old Rochester Regional. I was a relief pitcher, and I came in the 5th inning, and I let up, in 1/3 of an inning, I think I let up 6 runs. So I had like a 96 ERA.
Congratulations, Joe Kelly. You are on the same level as JV Old Rochester baseball.
Tim Dunn, yeah, exactly.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is what sucks about baseball is that it's such a long season and it drags out that like for the first month you can't even discuss anything because it's not going to be a pertinent display of what's going to be happening in the rest of the year. Yeah,
it's hard to just sit here and crucify everybody because there is who knows? I mean, it could be one bad outing. Joe Kelly the thing is he has the stuff, right? He has like 100-mile-an-hour fastball and he's got secondary pitchers. He's a reformed starting pitcher, so he's got the stuff to go out there and be an impact late inning guy if he wants to be. And there's no saying that he can't develop into one throughout the course of the season. So you are right. It's a little tough to jump down their throats. Although, again, me being a Yankee fan, I'll take any chance I can to dance on the Red Sox graves. Another fact to bring up, though, J.D. Martinez, where's he been? You want to talk about how the pitching let him down in day one. The offense hasn't been much better. They only scored 1 run yesterday, and they only scored 4 the opening day. J.D. Martinez is yet to have a hit.
The offense, it's kind of... They're at 50% of effectiveness right now for the opening 2 games. I mean, you have last year. What I'm worried about and what I think it's going to be is they're not going to be in sync with the pitching. When the pitching's on, the batting, the hitting was terrible. When the hitting was on, the pitching was awful, or they were injured. And that was kind of the story last year, especially with the hitting. The hitting couldn't, hitting was atrocious all around mostly, but whatever they were on, the pitching was the pitching was terrible. So it's. These last 2 games, they haven't been in sync either. I mean, you had a guy who was on fire. Well, I guess the pitching as a whole, you include the bullpen, but Chris Sale's on fire. Everyone, hitting was doing pretty well. They had all those 4 runs in 1 inning, I believe, though, right? Or maybe only a couple innings in the first game. They
I think it was in the first 3.
Yeah, they had an opening inning run was Mookie Betts score because he almost hit one deep actually for the opening pitch. But
they scored 3 in the second, and I think that was Eduardo Nunez had the inside the Parker, and then they scored 1 in the 7th. In that game. But yeah, it was primarily coming early. So it'd be interesting to see what they do today as well. Porcello's on the mound, so we'll see how he starts his
4-game series. You'll see what
season
you'll see against the worst batting order, the worst batting order in the MLB, or at least the AL in my mind, that 4 of the 5 Red Sox starters are going to be facing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Red Sox, you really couldn't ask for anything better, right? Couldn't
ask for anything better. Why?
to start against a team like the Rays, right? You're starting against a team that's not like they're stacking the lineup with superstars, right? And you have two pitchers who are coming back off of a lot of questions off of last year. One of them came up yesterday and put it all together. And yeah, it was against the Rays, and yeah, it's game number one.
Though you can look at that two ways, as in, are they? You can't control who you play, obviously, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. But now that Joe Kelly kind of blew the game in the opening game, and then they won only 1-0 yesterday. That could be and against the lowly Rays again. That probably lacks some confidence in the team.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for the team overall. But from a pitching standpoint, you have to be pretty happy if you're a Red Sox fan with what you got from your starting pitchers.
Right.
I mean, Sale looks great.
You have David Price and Chris Sale. David Price has sucked the
Price
last 2 years, but at least he's still David Price. Chris Sale has been a monster, and he's going to continue to be a monster. After that, though, Rick Porcello was give or take. Stephen Wright, who was a dirtbag anyway, who beat his girlfriend, and he's out of he violated the MLB's domestic
15 games. He's suspended.
Yeah, we haven't covered that dirtbag yet either. I didn't dig into much of his story, but he seems like I don't know why he'd even. Obviously, he's a knuckleballer. He's not like he's even worth it. If your punter did that, you just get rid of him, unless you're the Giants. But
yeah, that was what was that guy's name? He was a real.
Well, yeah, the team covered up for him. Eli Manning and everybody covered up for him.
Yeah.
The godforsaken, not the Roonies on the Giants. No, the Mars.
No.
The Mars on the Giants.
Yeah.
The
golden children of the NFL.
Yeah, he's such a great guy.
Yeah.
But that was kind of shocking for me to see that. But he's a knuckleballer. Who cares? He's gonna probably suck anyway.
Yeah, I mean the
knuckleball. And also, when you have bruises when you have bruises from beating your girlfriend that much on your hands, it's probably hard to throw a knuckleball. So
that's that could be very true.
Yeah.
No, I think it would be interesting though to see, like, if you look at Price for a second from yesterday, right? You can say, yeah, it was one game. Yeah, he's David Price. Yeah, he's had trouble in the past, but he's still an elite pitcher or has been an elite pitcher. But if you're a Red Sox fan, you have to be happy that he came out and pitched well and got the chance that he played the Rays, right? Because if he went out and played the Yankees, or if he went out and played the Astros,
a good team,
would he have had that same success? And I'm not saying that, David Price is fixed and the perfect, and he's going to be the Cy Young David Price he was 4 or 5 years ago. But this could be the kind of game that gets him back on track to being that guy. If he has a couple of good outings under his belt before he goes up against the Yankees or the Astros or the Angels or the Twins or the Indians, all these good teams that are expected to compete for playoffs this year, wouldn't you want him to have a couple of these solid games under his belt, feel a little bit more comfortable, not have to come right out of the gate and face these teams? I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be guaranteed success now because he had one good game against the Rays. But if I'm a Red Sox fan, I'd rather him play against the Rays, have a good outing like this. And the same thing, I got to feel the same way for Porcello, too.
Well, obviously, you want him to have a good outing and get confidence. Who wouldn't? I just think it's going to be a problem with David Price where he needs that all the time. He needs that when he needs to be told that he needs to improve. He needs to always be told that he's good. Even yesterday, I think it could have been a quote from last year, but I was listening to the radio on and off about from the post game or maybe a recap, and it was Price talking to reporters, and it's again him with his little sourpuss attitude. Yeah, well, I think I know how to pitch, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, what I'm confused about, I don't know if it was yesterday or not, because he shouldn't have gotten the loss yesterday for that. He did, but one run is inexcusable for a team to not be able to produce more, one run or more for your pitcher.
Yeah,
those are the games that are tough. Those are the games I don't fault Price for. The ones I fault Price for when he lasts 4 innings, leaves the bases loaded, and already gave up 3 runs, and does it consistently, and then he gets questioned about it, and then complains.
Yeah, I guess it will be most interesting to see how he performs after a game like that, right? Because he's going to have one of those games at some point this season, and it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back from that, how he handles it in the media, things like that. He'll probably handle it negatively in the media, but it will be interesting to see how he bounces back on the mound.
The batting, I don't think the lineup's going to be as bad as we're anticipating. It's only been 2 games, as we keep saying, and if you look at Mookie Betts is I think he's a great spot in the top of the order. Leading off with that's what he did. That's what he did in the opening game. Yeah, he almost had the first pitch of the season out of the park.
Yeah, he's led off the last 2 days.
The addition of JD Martinez, if Hanley Ramirez is comfortable, like you said earlier, a couple weeks ago, if he's comfortable with meshing with JD Martinez in the order and having him as support, your top half of the order is great. All it is now is turning that top half over. I think they're going to be a little bit better than we expect. But again, it's all going to come down to if they can hit home runs out of the smallest ballpark in the country.
You would think a task that's easy, but last year,
They didn't.
very
Well,
difficult.
It is easy if you're a Major League Baseball player.
Unless you were on the Red Sox in 2017. Very difficult.
Well, yeah, for them, yeah. But so what else? So you also told me there's some. I didn't catch this. You're going to have to fill me in more about this Malcolm Butler news that you saw.
Oh, our buddy Malcolm Butler, he's back in the news. I don't think the story is ever going to die. We'll be 90 years old talking about that time Malcolm Butler didn't play in the Super Bowl. I'm still wondering why.
I hope I have way better things to talk about at 90.
I know I will not. I will be stuck worrying about this. But yeah, he had it was a Sports Illustrated thing. I think they wrote like an article and then they did a little video. It's like a little docu-series type of thing. And basically he was saying, like they were asking him, about the whole situation. And he said he still didn't really know. He said that he felt as though he wanted to say something and he felt compelled to say something in the moment a couple times. And he referenced, wanting to talk to Belichick and Matt Patricia, but that he has so much respect for his elders that he decided not to say anything. But there was a couple times during the game he really wanted to go up and question why he wasn't in. And he said that in specifics, he said there were a couple of plays that he saw in the game that he knew he could have made plays and that he definitely thinks they would have won if he was out there, but still doesn't know why. But what I think the most interesting out of this whole thing was after this article and little documentary thing came out, Mike Giardi of NBC Sports Boston had a nice tweet where he shed a little bit more light on the situation and said that he had texted a couple of current Patriots players regarding this whole Malcolm Butler thing and obviously him being out in the media now that he's with the Titans and free agency.
Unnamed Patriots players, right?
Unnamed Patriots players. So, there's always that caveat of who is it and, how important are they, how much do they really know.
Well, either way, it's an access into the locker room, so
yeah.
It could be pretty important. And we'll take him at his word for this because
he's been genuinely,
he's
I'd
a straight
say,
reporter. Yeah. He's no Ron Borges, so.
Yeah, he is no Ron Borges. This is not a Don Yee situation, hopefully.
Yeah.
So he says, let's see. He said he texted a couple current Patriots, and one said, quote, "We all wished it would have worked out better, but he should have focused on what mattered those 2 weeks." So that kind of leads a little bit right to the fact that there was some things going on, some things that maybe he hasn't been as forthcoming, because he's come out and said, like, listen, I was doing everything I could. I was trying to be the best I could.
That's all stuff we know, though. That's the only thing. So what are the players really backing him up on? That he was there doing all that stuff? So I was right.
Yeah, well, they're saying that they wish it could have worked out better, and that, well, there's one other one here. Let me find it. Said they appreciated everything that he tried to do, but they didn't think he was the same last year. And in particular, one of the players said that they didn't like the decision, but it wasn't without merit. So that's the one that I'm hanging on. It wasn't without merit, because we haven't really heard anybody say, like, we've heard Devin McCourty came out and said that they knew that he wasn't going to start, right? And it's all kind of been accepted on some level that for whatever reason he didn't play in the game.
So I agree in the line. So what it's looking to me more as is that it's extreme, unlikely, improbable, but it happened mistake by Belichick, because I don't see anything that he was screwing around, that he was doing drugs or any of that crap or partying, or I think it looks like that his play was slacking in the middle of the year for whatever reason. Maybe it was just a natural decline in play, or maybe it was a lack of attitude throughout the year. But I don't think anything specifically happened during that week where he got benched because of something he did.
Well, the other interesting thing, too, and I was listening to Felger and Maz this week, they had Greg Bedard on, and Greg Bedard said that he is close. He's not ready to formally come out and say it now because he's still trying to fact check and everything, but he's close on a story that would add a little bit more light to this, saying that it wasn't necessarily Belichick who initially brought up the idea of not playing Butler. So somebody else had a hand in it. Patricia, could be somebody else. I just think it's interesting, and I don't know, I know we're never going to really know what the problem was or what it was, whether it was just not
I just have
wanting
a
to play
hard
him
time
because he was
believing that
sick.
Belichick or coaching staff made that big of a decision. Because, again, what's the biggest tell in that whole thing? Because this seems like a player, this seems like a team-oriented defense. This does kind of seem like that. It seems like the team, maybe a team representative either told the players what to say or they were the players, and they had that little response. But the biggest tell they can't get rid of is that he didn't come in for one play. Yeah. You can understand the first half if they got into a rut, or you can understand even up until the fourth quarter when it's just do or die time. They couldn't figure out one package to put him in and maybe somebody else in who could help him out. They couldn't figure out one. This is the team that thinks of everything. This is the team that thinks of every single little thing they got to do, but all of a sudden Malcolm Butler is no part of the game plan after he was for 16 games.
And there is some truth into that. It's interesting the way it was worded, that it was a decision that was made with merit. Okay, yeah, at the beginning. But where does that merit lie in the third quarter when you're getting torched? Obviously.
But where do you think the merit is? Do you think it's something he did, or do you think it's something that happened just in the coaching room?
I think it really is more of a coaching thing. I think he just wasn't. And again, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, too. It was like, I've accepted the fact that they didn't start him, and I can wrap my head around that because I didn't think he played that well this year anyways. And even one of the guys that Giardi was tweeting about said that the guy said that last year he wasn't the same Malcolm Butler.
He was still better than who was on the field for the Super Bowl.
Well, that's the problem. So I understand why they didn't start him, but I don't think there's any merit to why he never played. Like, how do you not put him in? How does he not step on the field on defense for one play at any point?
That's a question we're all asking, but what I'm saying is if two idiots, me and you, can see it from our own eyes that he should have been on the field and that the people who were playing in lieu of him were not even close to his talent, why do you think that the merit lies in the coaching room, or do you think that lies for something he did? Do you think that it was Belichick and Patricia and McDaniels all got together and said, okay, we're gonna roll the dice here?
Yeah, see, I feel like there's got to be a little bit. And that's what would make you think, right? There's got to be a little bit of something he did, right? Because there's just no excuse not to put him on the field. There had to be maybe it wasn't anything super egregious, but it was something that just rubbed Belichick the wrong way, and it gave him enough of an excuse to keep him out of the starting lineup.
For the Super Bowl, though. The Super Bowl. That's the thing. It's the biggest game of the year, what you have to win. And if a guy like Randy Moss can start the Super Bowl, for all the problems he caused, maybe not on the team when they went to the Super Bowl, but there's been a lot worse guys than Malcolm Butler, at least from what we see in the public light. And again, for the Super Bowl, that'd be Belichick's problem. That'd be Belichick's fault and his reason for losing the Super Bowl. If he just said out of spite or because Malcolm Butler did something slightly egregious, you're going to sit him from winning the sixth Super Bowl in your tenure. Yeah. That's crazy. I don't know. I'm unfortunately leaning onto the side of that. This might be just a huge, huge mistake by Belichick. I don't know why. And the only thing the only reason why I can't commit 100% to that thought is because of how obvious it was that he didn't want him to play. He did until the last snap. He did not want Malcolm Butler on that field, it's not a need, it's want. If they they would have won if they didn't need him on the field.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Do you have anything to add? Or are you looking at honeymoon spots for that wedding?
No, not looking at honeymoon spots. Trying to get a little bit more information to see if I can dig a little bit deeper. But it's no, it's true. It didn't at some point. It became a want, a true effort to keep him out rather than to keep him in. And it just, I think you're right. It is.
I am right.
It is.
I'm always right.
You are the king of right. It is Bill Belichick outsmarting himself or whatever he was doing. I don't know. Maybe he took a swing at Steve. Who knows? Maybe he took a swing at Steve Belichick or something, or got an argument with him. And you don't mess with the kid. I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
All right, so I guess we're going to wrap this up because there's nothing really else going on. We're going to talk about the Celtics real quick because I'm going to that game. I'm getting brought by this very lovely girl I've been seeing. So I'm going to be able to go on her birthday to the Celtics. I'm getting a present for this girl's birthday, which is pretty nice.
That is that's a girl you want to lock up right there. She is
lock up.
Lock up in a good way, not lock up in.
Is that what the kids say? Lock up.
I guess that's like the cool lingo, right? I was at the wedding last year. They were like, "Hey, we're locking her up."
But it's a big game tonight. They're playing the Raptors. Kyrie Irving's still out. He's going to be coming back. I'd say for at least the beginning of the postseason. We'll definitely have to have Devin Clements on for when, around the time Irving comes back, postseason starts. We had him on last week when you ditched just a show.
I skipped out on you. I wish I was there. I would like to.
No, you don't.
I enjoyed the first time he was in. He was a great guest, and I would like to have him in to find out, because I was looking at the dates right here. So April 11th is the end of the regular season, right? Playoffs start on the 14th. Rosters have to be set by the 13th, and that is right around the time. I mean, the 13th is hitting.
They're
They're going to put him there.
Start him.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're right on the line of that 3 weeks, right? When he had the surgery, it was a 3 to 6 week timetable. The 14th is right around the time of that. The start of that, the start of the playoffs is right around the time of that third week, where he should potentially be ready to go.
Exactly a week ago. So 2 more weeks from now, it's going to be right. He should be cleared technically before that span, before the roster deadline is due anyway. But I doubt that he'll be, depending on who they play in the opening round, I doubt he'll be out there for the first game, unless it's going to be someone pertinent. But who are they set to play right now? How are the seeding set up? Do you know?
Right now, let me see. I got it up here. So they're the 2 seed, and there's no way they're going to fall out of that. Right now, it's looking like the Heat. Could be the Heat or the Wizards. Both of them kind of stink. Or the Bucks, actually. They're all tied.
Yeah, so it should be an all right first round. You're probably going to want to need him if it goes to anything over 5 games. And then he should be okay. You're going to need him for the second round and further if they even go further.
Yeah, him and Smart, I would say.
And I actually had to talk with Devin last week about Al Horford also as well. It was just horrendous play over.
Did you have to drum up some content about how average he is? How much of a kind of non-factor, kind of factor he is?
Well, he's not worth the money.
Hovering in the middle.
That's ridiculous.
Well, that's evident. I mean, that's not his fault. That's a
who
league problem.
But that's what the whole argument is, though, is that people try to say he's a max contract player. Extreme Green Teamers try saying he's a max contract player, and he's clearly not.
That's a tough hill to die.
He's averaging like 11 points a game or something? Not even?
If that.
He's averaging 9 points, I think. And everyone says, "Oh yeah, he's a setup guy.
He does a little bit of everything, but nothing actually really that well."
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'd rather have someone who can actually score and make a defensive impact besides grabbing a few rebounds a game. And everyone likes to tout that he gets the most rebounds from the team in a game. It's like, well, he's the tallest player. He's doing at least one thing.
Yeah,
he's supposed to do.
He's their center or forward. He should be getting the rebounds. He should be the one down there.
And he's also taking an extreme amount of 3-pointers that he misses. He's just not a fit for the team. He's just not good. I don't think he's a good player. He's not great.
He's making like what, $30 million a year, right?
Yes.
And he's averaging 12.8 points, 7.4 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's $30 million.
And everyone likes to say how he sets up the assist. He assists the guy who gives the assist. That's why he's so.
Oh, he's a hockey player.
Yeah, so
he gets the second assist.
Yeah, it's like it even matters. Like, yeah, so if your team passes it 12 times during a series, he's the last guy. He's the second to last guy to touch the ball. That's why he's important. He sets up the guy who sets up the guy.
He's the inbound passer. Look at that.
It was actually funny. Brian Scalabrine, there's a fake Wikipedia page for him, and I forget what college he went to, but they said drafted as a 6'1" inbounder. But yeah, so the Celtics that'll be a good matchup. The Raptors are going to end in the
and that's an important game. I mean, they play the Raptors tonight, and I think they play them 2 or 3 days from now as well. So they're 3 games back of the Raptors for that top seed.
They play the Raptors tonight, 7:30. Then they play the Bucks. Wow, all playoff teams. They play the Bucks on Tuesday at 8:00. Then they play the Raptors again. I believe they're going to probably be away. I'm assuming on Wednesday. Friday, they play the Bulls, which aren't going to be a playoff team. And then they play the Hawks next Sunday.
So, realistically, the Celtics have... I mean, it's going to be a...
They have an easy schedule to end it. Listen to the teams they're playing to end the season. So, as we already said, Raptors, Bucks, Raptors, Bulls, Hawks. And then they have the Wizards, and then they have the Nets.
Well, you better be cheering as hard as you possibly can tonight, because if they win this game and they win the other game against the Raptors, that's a legitimate chance with the rest of the cakewalk that they have at the end there. If the Raptors falter a little bit down the stretch, the Celtics could sneak their way into the number 1 seed.
Well,
They're 3 games
back. The Raptors
back.
are playing, though, because the Raptors have been ahead of the Celtics the entire year.
That's very true.
The Raptors do have sort of a tough schedule, though, going on. They have... after the Celtics, they play the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
Then they play Celtics again. Then they have the Pacers.
Pacers are a 5 seed.
Yeah, they have the Magic, and then they have the Pistons, and then they have the Heat. They have a little bit tougher of a schedule. Not the worst thing in the world, but the Cavs game could be a big difference. But the Celtics are 3 games behind, so you're counting on the last 3 games of the year, which are not really, which are teams the Raptors can beat.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to end second. I wouldn't be banking on the Celtics finishing in a first place seed.
Yeah, the 2 seed's not bad.
They've been in second place since for the entire year since Irving's injury. So. But anyway, that's all going on. There's nothing else going on in the sports world, unfortunately.
Hey, next week, let's get a caller who actually uses words and has, like, good jokes.
Doesn't think this is KFC. I don't even know if that guy was joking. I hope he's all right.
Someone go check on that man.
Whatever he's having, I want some of it, unless it's an illegal drug, which it probably is. So, but all right, everybody, have a good weekend. Have a good Easter. Bye.